So some time ago now, I made a video about how I got a drawing tablet in the hopes of improving my photo editing workflow. Well, it turns out it wasn't a bad idea. It was just the wrong piece of hardware. Let's talk. So this is the Huion Inspiroy Dial 2. And full disclosure, Huion did send me this drawing tablet for this video, but before they did, I made it very clear that regardless of what I thought of the tablet, I would be completely honest in my review video. They also would not get to see this video before its release, nor would they have any impact in what goes into the video. This was all fine to them, so they just wanted to send it to me and see if their piece of hardware can actually work in somebody's photo editing workflow. So, with that out of the way, let's talk about it. Also, just a little disclaimer before we go further, I am actually currently very sick still, so if I sound weird, that's the reason. Okay? Taking the tablet and pen into your hand, you're instantly met with good quality stuff. And the design of the tablet itself is so good, I just can't get over it. The rounded edges everywhere, the slightly metallic-like texture on the back, the rubberized end, the dials, the drawing tablet, the pen itself, it all just feels like quality stuff. And I instantly grew to appreciate it. And it was a stark contrast to what I had used before. The pen itself is a light plastic thingy in everywhere except where it counts, which is where you grip the pen itself. There is a nice rubber coating which makes the pen actually really comfortable to hold. That also has two buttons that are freely customizable, but we'll get into that later. But due to that rubber coating, this pen is actually really comfortable to use for long periods of time, and the plastic means that it's not too heavy either. And it can keep going for those long periods of time because it uses magnets, so no battery will ever run out with the pen. Now the tablet itself has a nice 26.7 by 16.7 working area, which proved to be exactly the right size for me, where it doesn't feel cramped, but it still doesn't make the tablet too big that it would fit into, well, comfortably on my desk among my keyboard and mouse and all of that. And the material on that work area, combined with the standard tips provided, just felt perfect to me. That was exactly the feeling I was looking for with a drawing tablet the first time I tried it, but I just didn't end up getting that. What I got was much more coarse. And if the standard feeling isn't enough paper-like feeling, then Huion still has you covered, because in the pen holder that they provide, there are 5 standard tips as well as 5 felt tips. So swapping over to them, that would feel more rough and coarse and more like writing on paper with a pencil. Personally, I really didn't want that feeling, so I stuck with the standard tips. But back on the tablet, the edge is actually where all of that magic really happens, because the tablet has 2 dials as well as 6 buttons that are all completely freely customizable. We'll get into that later, but just remember, completely customizable. The 6 buttons use these butterfly switch-esque low travel keys, which are really comfortable to use. And I might be crazy, but I feel like all the 6 different buttons have a unique click sound. Am I crazy? Listen to this. But in the corners, there are the 2 dials. Now these, like I said, are also completely customizable. You can change them to be any sort of scroll that you want, or you can just rebind left to be a certain key and the right to be a certain key. So you can go into whatever software you're using and just, if you have increase brush size, then you can just bind it to whatever key you bound for the wheel. So it is just customizable to no end. But the dials themselves are also extremely comfortable to use because they still carry on that tactile feeling from the buttons with very clear stops and the perfect amount of resistance as you scroll. So you can go fast and it still doesn't stick. Or if you want to be more precise, you can do that as well. At the end, with your USB-C port, you probably won't see this, it's so small. You have your power on-off key as well as your reset key. That is because the tablet can be used wired using the angled USB-C cable provided. That's a nice touch. Or by connecting it via Bluetooth 5.0 to your PC, tablet, laptop, phone, whatever you want. If you choose to use it over Bluetooth, the 1300 mAh battery in the tablet will provide you with 18 hours of usage. And to top that off, the charging will take just 2.5 hours. So both options are there and they both work phenomenally. Okay, now let's talk about how it actually functions, and let's start with my experience in photo editing. Well, the short, simple TLDR is, after trying it out, editing the photos from our recent trip to Belgium, it is now a permanent addition to my photo editing workflow. Masking, dodging and burning, adjusting the dials in On1 Photo Raw, and everything else that I do in Affinity Photo 2 is just a breeze. The control and accuracy that the pen and the tablet provide you with their 8,192 pressure levels is just so far beyond any mouse. Not that I really notice the pressure levels themselves. I don't draw. And in my case, in photo editing, I mostly use both of the dials to zoom and control the image that way. So scrolling up and down, left or right, or zooming in and out. The buttons also grew on me. So as you might assume, I started out with just having them for something simple like Control S for saving, Control Z for undoing, possibly exporting. But as I kept using them, I just got more and more ideas on how to actually utilize them. For example, in On1, I constantly used the masking tool. So binding that to a certain button just made switching to it so intuitive, so easy. So I ended up absolutely loving the tablet in my photo editing workflow. But that got me thinking, and soon enough, I decided to see how it would work in my video editing workflow. Before we hop into that though, if you're liking the video, remember to do that since it helps out the video a ton. Thanks. Now, video editing. As I had filmed a video that same week where I edited those photos, I chose to see if I could edit the whole video using just the tablet. Now first I was a little confused, as you might imagine, but as soon as I got into the flow and started seeing what shortcuts I should bind to the buttons, I did so. And once I did that, and I got my shortcuts to the buttons, my editing speed just flew out the window. The accuracy and speed I had with the pen and the tablet, combined with the ability to zoom in and out and scroll through the timeline without ever looking for the navigators using the dials, as well as just clicking 3 buttons, having them constantly under my fingers for play, pause, slice, and delete, just made so much sense. And I could instantly see that I had been sleeping on this hardware for video editing. Color grading was also a breeze because I could just use those dials to get my values in the exact spot that I wanted, in the smoothest, precise, most consistent way that I've used so far. And the Huion software makes binding everything that you need so intuitive that it's crazy. It is so easy to use, and there's pretty much no limitation to what you can make those buttons do or those dials, and you can even adjust the sensitivity of the dials. You can adjust the pens buttons completely separately, and you can make profiles for every single program on your PC. And how the software determines when you're using which profile, well, it automatically switches them when you have the said program in focus on your desktop. So it is completely seamless. I've seen a lot of different kinds of accompanying softwares bundled with different hardware, and this is definitely up there as one of the best ones that I've ever seen. Sure, it's a simple program, but it does what it's supposed to so incredibly well that is crazy. So I must say, while my earlier drawing tablet experience had been, well, not that great, I still kept it around and I brought it out when I needed to do something more precise. But with the Inspiroy Dial 2, it is now coming out every time that I want to edit photos, video, or create thumbnails. And if you're interested in getting the tablet yourself, I will leave a link in the description. Now that will be an Amazon affiliate link, so using it will support the channel directly. So thanks. But now I want to hear from you guys. If you've ever used the Inspiroy Dial 2, let me know what your experience was with it. Or if you're a photo or video editor, have you ever considered using a drawing tablet for your workflow? Why or why not? Let's talk about all of that in the comments below. And if you like the video, remember to like the video because it helps out more than you think. Thank you once again to Huion for sending me the tablet. I am so glad that it turned out to be as good as you claimed it would be. Alright, that is all for me this time. I will see you again next time. Have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.